Hey everybody, welcome back to this video series where I am taking the lean startup theory and I'm applying it to a real life business opportunity. Now I'm Dalton, I'm the lead instructor at the Side Startup Club, and if you want to follow along and watch me launch this business step by step, then be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel below. This video is going to review the entire business model development process for our Oaxaca travel website. We are going to tell you exactly what our refined business idea is and take you through each element of the business model canvas. So at the beginning of our long journey, we had a very vague concept of a business idea, which was some sort of travel website platform that was hyper-localized to the Oaxacan Mexican market. We conducted some market research and some competitor analysis to spot a gap in the market and also identify some key dimensions where we could differentiate ourselves on. So we're going to review these last two steps and make it clear exactly what our value proposition is now that we went through this whole process and the business model around it. So after we conducted our market research, we identified how we're going to differentiate ourselves, and we identified three key elements. The first element is we want to be a simple one-stop shop, or rather a hub. So we want information related to transportation, restaurants, lodging, and the key activities. So they're going to learn how to get around Oaxaca, where to stay at in Oaxaca, where to eat, and what to do. Secondly, we don't want to have information overload where we offer a million options for each one of those pieces of information. We want to offer them the do-it-yourself and very, very cheap option, and then an option that's a little more accommodating or a little more value involved in it. So basically, they're not going to have to spend a ton of time consuming information in order to figure out we should go to this restaurant, we should book this Airbnb, we should do this activity with this tour guide. And then the third value proposition was we want to appeal to the budget traveler and the very price conscious traveler. The first way we do that I just described. We give them an option of how to do it themselves, like here's how to do a walking tour by yourselves, download this map. The second method is to have some sort of Groupon business model. So we're going to offer them coupons at certain restaurants or discounts at certain Airbnbs. And now after going through the whole process and looking back, I came up with a fourth point for our value proposition. And it's without a doubt the most transformational to the entire business idea. And this is introducing and focusing on a human element behind every interaction and transaction. So this means that when you go to book your Airbnb and you're at our website, you're going to learn first and foremost about the host who owns that Airbnb and who you're going to interact with. When you go to the Mescal tour, you're going to learn, yes, about the Mescal tour and what you're going to learn and where it is, but you're going to learn about the farmer and the farmer's life, and as well as the person giving you the tour, where they're from, how long they've been in Oaxaca, and what their character is like. Same with restaurants. When you go to a restaurant on our site, you're already going to know the backstory of that restaurant and the owner, and kind of what that owner looks like and his character and where he's from. This is going to make you feel very welcomed and familiar with the city. You're going to leave Oaxaca feeling like you actually have a sense of the culture because you knew more about the people every time you went to an Airbnb or a restaurant or did an activity. So our competitors, Lonely Planet, TripAdvisor, Airbnb, none of them focus on this human element. They focus on here's the type of food you eat, this is how much it's going to cost. This is how many rooms your Airbnb has, or this is how many hours your Mescal tour is going to be. Ours is going to be that information, but it's also very much about here's the person behind it. And this really separates us from the competition, and it really appeals to our target customers because our target customers are these rather young international travelers who usually have some sort of kind of backpacking experience, and they are all about engaging with people. They do not want this generic tourist experience. They don't want to do what everybody else in Oaxaca visiting Oaxaca is doing. They want to feel like they got a unique, genuine experience. So with that said, we have a very well-defined value proposition, and we also have a very well-defined customer segment, or a target market segment. We went into a little more detail about who these customers are. We know they participate in the sharing economy, Airbnb and BlaBlaCar. We also know that they're the do-it-yourself type of travelers, and they are not so scared of taking on some risk in their travel experiences. And we know that there's somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 of these travelers. So then we went on and defined what our customer relationships were, and we also defined how we're going to reach those customers. So our customer relationship was, first we need to get them on our website, we need to acquire them, and then we need to start engaging them and building up trust so that they go through this customer journey, ending with purchasing some of our more revenue-driven offers. And the way we were going to acquire these customers was originally through SEO. We were going to target keywords like things to do in Oaxaca, best restaurants in Oaxaca, best mezcal tours in Oaxaca. But we ran into a pretty big challenge when we got a consultation and began to understand that a lot of those key phrases we're not going to be able to rank for, or at least not in the short term. So we had to pivot some of our marketing strategy, and we're considering doing some YouTube promotional videos that will funnel some of these users back to our website. As it stands, this is one of the highest risks to our business model. We have a great value proposition. We know who our customer is and that there's thousands of them searching for Oaxaca travel services, but reaching them is a major challenge. And you can have the best value proposition in the world, but if nobody can find you, it really doesn't matter. So this is one thing we need to come back and really massage out, or at least validate. And the next thing we did was define our revenue model, and this was our second biggest challenge because there is simply not a strong revenue model behind our idea as it stands. We have a lot of mixed revenue streams kind of cobbled together. We have affiliate marketing, and within affiliate marketing we have generic partners like Amazon, Viator, and Skyscanner. And then we have our local affiliate partners like the transportation service and the mezcal tour people. And then in our midterm revenue model, we introduced some new streams. We wanted to add on an e-commerce side of things, so when you are looking at the different shops and artisans of Oaxaca, you will have the option to purchase merchandise directly from us. Also, we wanted to add this with locals model. And for people not familiar with that model, it's where you basically become a marketplace for matching that user with some person in the Oaxaca community that's offering a service. It could be dinner, it could be Spanish classes, it could be dance classes, it could be a city tour. It can really be anything. So we're going to introduce that as one of our revenue models, and we're going to get a split of those sales. So those services would be booked directly through us. Now, with all of that revenue model figured out and how we're going to reach the customer, we're able to define what our key activities are. And our key activities in summary were SEO work every month, content updating on the website, facilitating the e-commerce activities, you know, the inventory management and stuff, and basically maintaining our relationships with all our local providers and local partnerships. And based on those key activities, we defined the 4 or 5 different types of resources needed to complete each activity. And then we really got creative and we came up with all these partnerships that might make our life easier. Now the key partnerships, the ones that are absolutely critical to pulling off this business, are we need a travel agent partner because one of the services we're offering and one of the relatively key components of our revenue model is offering this kind of 20-minute consultation. So we need somebody who can provide that service. Secondly, we need a social network around us in order to streamline some of the research and content creation that's needed to set this website up. We really need to have that social network. And the third key partnership that's critical is having a very strong relationship with someone highly involved in the mescal space. This means the mescal farmer as well as the mescal tour provider. We're really going to promote and push the mescal tours and even the sale of mescal. So we need to make sure that partnership's well intact. And then if I were to identify a fourth partnership, perhaps it's not critical, but it's very helpful, is getting someone who's in the journalism space and the photography space involved in this project so that they can create some of the content and do some of the writing behind the human element, doing a biography on the different street vendors and restaurant owners and Airbnb hosts. Perhaps we can get some of those people to do it themselves, but it'd be great if we had a professional journalist and photographer to work with us. And then we identified our cost structure that came from these key activities and key resources. And we know that the ongoing steady state cost in the midterm scenario is going to be roughly $1,000 a month when you account for all the time I have to put into it to upkeep this and make the wheels turn. And that pretty much summarizes our value proposition and the business model around that value proposition. But first I have one final innovation to throw into the mix here. Because our whole company is based on this idea of getting in touch with the human side of the supplier and getting a better understanding of the culture and the people when you come to travel here, we want to funnel, let's say roughly 20 to 30% of our profits back into the community. And we're going to do this by donating to a given charity or a given organization. Say it may be a youth charity, or it may be a restoration charity, or perhaps a charity that preserves the artisan way of life. We haven't picked out what that charity is going to be yet, but we're going to donate some of our profits there, and of course we're going to market this. This is just good, proper business social responsibility, and it may help us out with some of our shortcomings in this marketing strategy, and it's just going to help people get on board and facilitate the creation of this and make them more willing to become partners or support this in any way they can, and it's going to be very community oriented. So with that said, in the next video we're going to take a closer look at this revenue versus cost part of the business model, and we're going to see if there are any value-based management techniques we can apply to our business model in order to get some of our costs a little lower and some of our revenue a little higher so that this is a very attractive business opportunity. So stay tuned to see how that works itself out, and I'll see you in the next video.